Okay, hi everyone. So, just to check, we should be live in the group now. Now, if just so make sure everything's working right, we're going live here with a new, well, it's not new. This software called OBS, and it's a different way of doing it. Facebook doesn't make it too easy these days to go live. So, if you're there and you're watching this, if you could pop a comment in, that would be great, or even just put a thumbs up to let me know that you're live. Okay, so yeah, I can see a couple of guys there comment. Thanks very much, Nick and Mark, and I hope your playing's going well. So I'm going to get straight into it. So what I'm going to do is I have a bit of a PDF here that everybody can get a copy of, and I'm going to run through a few things first, and then we'll get into the lesson. And I'm going to get into. I've kept this one. Well, I picked it forever because there's a lot of people in the group. There's over 900 people in the group, and I don't know what stage everybody's at. So I wanted to get something that was kind of halfway. Maybe some people are a wee bit more advanced, some people are only starting out, but we want to get something that's going to you can get your teeth into and learn a rhythm and a timing that's going to be important and useful for other things. So I have a document here. I just want to get straight into it now, and welcome to anybody that's just joined the group recently, by the way, because I know there's some of you guys joined over the summer and you probably haven't seen any lives or anything yet, so you're very welcome. So let me just switch to the document here. We're going to make myself a bit smaller and we'll bring this document up. So right away, I hope that's big enough on the screen. It should be, as far as I know, at this stage. Let me just check what I'm seeing here. Yeah. Now, as I say, you can get access to this afterwards. So again, thanks for checking out the slide lesson. If you're really new to the group, I'm James Ledley, the head of JLG Tuition here in Northern Ireland, and I run the Get Playing Guitar Facebook group, and I teach private lessons here, and I also have an online program that a couple of guys in the group have already very kindly sort of enrolled in, and I hope it's really helped their playing. So I teach guitar, ukulele and bass to beginners and improvers, and specialise in getting them quick results using the 3-step method. So if you're messing around with things that aren't helping, and you feel you're not making progress, that's what it's about. It's about only focusing on the things that are really relevant and important, and getting you to play your favorite music and improvise on guitar as quickly as possible. So I'll touch on the teaching method later. Obviously this is about the Oasis thing, but there's a couple of things I want to go through, some tips and advice first before we get into it. It's very important that you approach guitar in the right way. I get talking to a lot of beginners, and I see things coming up in other Facebook groups, and people are not getting the help they need, and that's what this group is about, trying to help everybody as much as it can. So first thing I would talk about are the mistakes that come up, and firstly practice, right? So because I've been teaching so long, I've been playing since I was 15, so I'm playing about 37 years now. I'm teaching over 20 years, so I've seen an awful lot in that time, and I've seen what works and what doesn't work. And practice, this is one of the things that makes it seems so obvious, but how do you practice? I hear these comments, as to say, online and elsewhere, people saying, "Oh, just practice, it all works out." It doesn't. It's not as simple as that. That kind of help, that kind of advice is not helping you. It's not specific. It's not tailored to what you need. You need somebody that's going to step in and say, "Well, what's wrong? Let me try and fix it." So yes, that's what I'm saying here. I see a lot of beginners make the mistake of taking advice, hearing things like practice, and it will all come together as if somebody's going to wave some magic wand and it's all just going to blend together and everything's going to work out perfect. Yes, if you keep persevering, you're going to make progress, but it's not going to be the progress you could be making if you had the right plan in place. That's what it's all about, structure and a plan. So someone offering this advice, what does it actually mean? Practice. Well, what do you practice? How do you practice? For how long? Are you reinforcing, as I'll talk about in a minute, bad habits that you already have and you don't even know? All these kind of things all play a part. When I work with my students, basically what I would do is sit down and say, what's wrong? What's not working? Okay, here's how we're going to fix it. And that's what I want you to do, and I want you to think about this way when you're learning songs as well. So we're going to get in. I'm just going to talk about that in a minute, but keeping at it. Yes, perseverance, obviously that's really important. You can't give up on it. You have to keep working at it, but you don't want to find yourself going round in a loop. You want to be working on only the things you really need. So if your chord changing is slow, why is it slow? Are you not laying the chords down in the right order? Are you working on a rhythm that you're not ready for? What is it? We'll have to find that out. So there's no real value in somebody saying you practice without any detail. There's no detail behind that. So as I say, I can't stress how important it is to focus on what you're having issues with right now, and learning songs is no different. So within the program, if you're already in my program or in my private lessons, when somebody comes to me and say, right, I want to play some songs, and obviously you want to play music and guitar, it's the whole point, but we've got to look at it realistically and go, well, are you ready for this? Are you ready for that one? I like people to get a bit of a list of songs together, and I look at them and go, okay, well, that can go on the back burner. You could play a part of that, but there's no point. We're not going to be able to get the whole thing down. We're going to work on what's manageable, but what's going to also bring you forward slightly. And sometimes it works out that what they suggest happens to be what they need. But what everybody needs on guitar is, I feel, the way I work, a mixture of what they want to do and what they need to do. And that gives motivation and helps them keep moving forward. That's what's worked in the past anyway, and it was definitely my driving force. Although there's a lot of things I missed out on when I was learning, that you've probably heard me mention before. So I like to make sure students know exactly what it is they're doing wrong and fix it as soon as possible, so it doesn't go on any longer, and give them the steps to fix it. What to practice, what to work on for the next lesson, so we get sorted ASAP. So I'm going to give you some tips on this Oasis and what to do and what to watch out for when you're learning the like of this song or anything else. Okay, bad habits. This is a big area. I'm not going to be talking all night. I've just got these points. Bear with me. We'll get through it and then getting into the song. But these are important. If you're reinforcing bad habits, especially if you don't already know that you are, you're adding to the time it's taken to learn the instrument properly. Because if you don't know their bad habits, they're going to remain bad habits. You know, laying chords down with the fingers in the wrong order, not even realizing it. Say a C chord, third, second, first, instead of first, second, third. I was doing a lesson today on Shallow, and it was the same thing in it. Quick change from a G to a C, and the wee guy I was working with, laying the fingers down because the first note on the tab was a 3 on string 5. But down the line in another song, he's going to want to have that C chord on and up, depending on the tune or the rhythm. So you've got to do it the right way and keep doing it the right way. Don't do it the right way once and go fall into your habits again. Try and keep it all the same way every time. If you need some tips or advice and you think you have some bad habits, comment below and we can have a chat and I can give you some advice, because that's what it's all about in this group, getting some help. Don't be afraid to step forward. That's what stepping out of the shadows and get some help is how the other guys in the group have progressed and helped their playing. Okay, so what about practice then? I look at practice as making permanent, but it's a double-edged sword. Bad practice creates bad habits and makes that permanent, or if it doesn't make it permanent, it's very hard to fix. The other good side of that and the upside is if you practice the right way, you're establishing good habits that will stay with you, and then everything's a knock-on effect. It's going to help everything else later on. One of the things to do then when you are practicing is to, let me just check because this might be people sort of commenting on, sorry, one of the guys, bear with me. You guys want to get in? Okay, yep. So it's to slow everything down. You may have seen people comment in the group. Some of them I'm working with, some of them I'm not. But slowing everything down, having patience to slow it down, breaking everything up. I like to break everything up for everybody into small, manageable chunks. Let me just have a quick check here that everything's running okay. And if it is, James, watching for roads. Right, Nick, cool. Watching for roads, very good. Nice to see you, Nick. Nice. Hi, Mark, as well, for turning up. Hope you're keeping well. To the guys from the program, and I hope your playing's going well. So let me get back to my document here so I can see what I'm doing. Yeah, sometimes the simplest of things make all the difference. You'll notice when I'm playing this later how I go about laying the chords down. You'll be able to see it, and this is what it's about. Here's just a few things. Now, I'm not saying there's an endless list, but if you get the right things, the important things right early on, makes a big difference down the line. So practicing everything slowly. It doesn't matter whether it's a solo, a riff, unless it is obviously another slow song. But even slow songs have quick chord changes. It gives you the chance to focus on what you're doing, one thing at a time. You've got to, as I said, sometimes some of the guys come in here, you've got to put blinkers on. You've got to block everything else out. There's an awful lot of distraction these days. Forget about YouTube. Forget about anything else. If you're on a path that's going to work, you've got to trust the process. You've got to run with it, and you've got to just focus on that. Get that going. Okay. It should be live in the group. Let me see, guys. Everybody else should be watching. So, now, if you're using, one of the things is using the right fingers. Chord changing. Make sure you lay them down 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. No matter what you're doing, bar chords, bar first. There are slight exceptions sometimes, but 99% of the time, it's bar finger first. So, as I say, they're laying them down the right order. Thinking about finger group and thinking about anchor fingers, G, D minor. Finger stays on the fretboard, don't lift it off. These kind of things. I'll run you through some of the tips. I'll run you through some of the tips when I'm doing the actual song. Let me just check here and see. Yeah. Hope everything's working okay. It seems to be live in the group anyway, so I don't know. One of the guys is saying he's only seen the test video. It should be live. But anyway, what do we see? We're back in again. Right, now I'm not going to hang around. Playing slowly gives you time to focus on the above. There's a lot more, but those are 3 important things. If you're working on a song and thinking, right, I want to learn this as quickly as possible, you need to think about how you're approaching that song. So the tendency is just to run over the entire song again and again. Sorry, let me get this started. Sorry guys, one of the guys that's in the group just is having problems for some reason. Yeah. Outdoors as well. Not sure why you can't see it. Yeah, so it's not the best way to learn songs. There are a few steps to think of. Getting stuff online. This is a problem. I find this as well when teaching. You know, sometimes in lessons, I find push for time. I'm going in, finding a song, thinking, all right, I've got to copy this. And then I'm thinking, hang on, is this right? That chord doesn't seem. I did it today. There was a guy working on, I don't know if you know, Noah Cahan. I think he's Canadian or something. Anyway, one of his songs, didn't even know it. Heard it once. And the chords were completely wrong. Had to sit in the lesson with the student and go through it all. Make sure the chords were right. So be careful the information you're getting. I always check it with the tune to make sure everything's matching up. And if you've got any, if this is bringing up some questions for you, I mean, let me know, because these are the kind of things that probably are bound to be cropping up for some of the guys out there that are learning on their own and maybe wondering, am I even playing the right way? You know, so have you got the correct rhythm for the song? Relying on ultimate guitar to generate rhythms is a bit hit and miss. Sometimes they're okay, sometimes they're not. I always go in and, well, it happened with that song today. Sometimes you got to go in and work the rhythm out there and then. And make sure you're focusing on the harder parts, not just the easy bits. It's so easy, and I'm guilty of this too when I was learning, even now sometimes I'm playing, like, we're all human. Oh, I'll go over that bit because I know that really well. And I'm thinking, what about that other bit that I really need to work on? Oh, I have a guy started lessons about 5 weeks ago here. Avoided bar chords for years. Perfect example. He came in and he admitted and he says, I had to turn around and go, right, these bar chords need work. So in the background, on top of what he's working on, we were focusing on the bar and getting, this finger was hugging this finger. You know, these things happen, and this finger was hugging. We were like, right, we've got to fix this, and give him exercises to fix it. It's very, very important to get that help. If you're struck, especially even bar chords on their own, well, it's a massive, massive topic, just bar chords. To get those right, and you could be spending so much time, wasted time, not approaching them properly. And the reason I only know how to go about it is from what my experience of what has worked through experimenting over the years. So in working with somebody like me, you don't have to do all that experimentation. You can just get my advice, and there you go. And you've got a plan to work to, and let's go and you get it sorted. Yep, so I've found the above, when by no means the only things to focus on. These are great starting points to get the song down more quickly and make it sound much better. And make sure you break any song you're doing into smaller chunks, especially if there's a section of chord change you're finding difficult. You need to focus in, as I was saying earlier, on only that part. Whether or not you find that with the Oasis, you might find this rhythm quite tricky. I don't know. It depends where you are. If you do, you can comment in the group and I will pop in. I mean, this live will be available in the group, by the way, afterwards. I'm also recording it, so I'll put it up in the guide section and you can grab it in there too. If you want a copy of this PDF, let me know, comment afterwards. And I've got a bit of an announcement later on about how, if you feel you're at the stage you want to get some help, a couple of options depending on what you want to work on. So I'll let you know then. Okay, so in learning a song, important things: smooth chord changes, time and rhythm, and any difficult changes. Song choice. Now, I've only got another couple of things here to go, and then we're going to get into the song. Right, so bear with me. Right, song choice. This is where a lot of people make the mistake of choosing their favourite song. I've had people come into lessons, start with me, and oh yeah, so I want to learn Blackbird, the Beatles, and I'm going, right, have you done any finger picking? Oh, I've done a bit. I think, right, okay, well, Blackbird wouldn't be a beginner's song. Or I put up here comes the sun. Somebody suggested this to me, when was that, about 3-4 weeks ago. I mean, fantastic finger picking song, but not easy. I mean, in the early days, it's very hard to know. I know when you're not, because I'm a tutor and I'm teaching all the time, I think of terms in degrees of difficulty and compare that to the grades I teach. And as soon as somebody mentions a song, if I know it, I'm kind of thinking, oh, that's intermediate, that's beginner, that's pretty advanced kind of thing. You've got to try and pick songs you can manage. In the early stages, a lot of upstrums cause problems. That's where I see a lot of people having problems. In the case of this Oasis, I mean, I could have picked anything, but I'm not going to pull something out of the hat that's going to be really difficult with a pile of bars in it. So I thought, given the reunion, and I know the hoo-ha about the tickets, some people aren't a bit happy. Luckily, we managed to get tickets, but it was hit and miss. Long story, but anyway, got into the pre-sale and got them. So that's what kind of made me think about doing a live again. I miss doing these lives. I haven't done one in a long time. So busy over the summer. There's going to be more of these more regularly. So this is why I chose Oasis Live Forever. Going to go into it in a minute. G and D and A minor, easy chords, A minor 7 and stuff. So, okay, before we get into that, what I would say is, if you're picking songs, pick slower songs with the chords that you're used to. If your timing's bad, you need to work on that. If your rhythm's bad, pick something with an easy rhythm. Try and get used to using a metronome. A lot of people don't like using one. Try and get used to using one. It really does help with your timing. I bring it in essence to slow down backup tracks and help students when they're doing their grades and stuff. Now remember, you've only got to do it perfectly once to make it click. Once it does, you'll acknowledge that. You should get a burst of dopamine and maybe a bit of adrenaline, and that'll help it be reinforced, and then you can go back and try and do it correctly again, and it's just all piles up, and before you know it, very, very important to play everything the same way again if you're playing it correctly. That's a big topic on its own, but for students I work with, if you're playing things wrong, we fix it, and then we focus on keeping it that way, the new way, but like that. Now here's something comes up. I've got to mention this because there's some guys, I mean, I've been chatting to different people online and all, and one last thing, this is a big one. People are thinking, oh, the more information I gather up, the better. Well, I don't see that as being an advantage, because yes, you're building your knowledge, but you're piling everything up. And if you're not being honest with yourself that there's something, you need to put a halt to that and fix whatever's wrong, and then get your new information. To have that attitude, it's great to have the thirst for knowledge and all, but if the skills aren't there, or there's something wrong with how you're playing at the minute, what's the point of having a desk high of PDFs if you're not tackling the important things, which are rhythm and timing and strumming, and in the case of soloing, scales and fretboard work, and again rhythm and timing. Everything comes back guitar to rhythm and timing. So yeah, having a bit of this and a bit of that from everything and everywhere you're grabbing online, it really isn't going to help if you're not, especially if you're starting to overwhelm yourself. And all that information is going to lead to frustration. It probably won't be in any order. If it's not structured, it's like going and building a house and hoping to put the windows in next week and haven't got the fines down. You know, it's crazy. You've got to get the fines down first. Everything has to be in place. A car manufacturer doesn't go and build a car and just say, stick that together, it'll fit. The design in advance, designers come in, the blueprints, prototype, all that there. Guitar playing shouldn't be viewed. Why anybody views it any differently, I don't know. I feel very strongly about this because I don't know why people think, I'm going to be able to do this without any help. It's crazy. It's madness because you're making it 10 times. If you could see the things that I see in lessons and the issues that I fix again and again and again, you would know exactly where I'm coming from. Things that are completely and 100% avoidable if you get the right help from the start. Can shave months, if not years, off wasting your time. So just a bit of advice from my years of experience. The other thing is sometimes all that information gathering can be an excuse for not working on, wanting to put the time in. I gotta be honest. If you don't want to really, your heart's not in it to fix things and you really are going at it 50-50, it's like anything, you get out of it what you put into it. So as I say, if you've gathered up a pile of information over the past few years, how much of this has really helped you playing? If it has, fantastic. Great to have knowledge. No harm in learning guitar theory, but it has to be, you have to be able to put that on the fretboard and make it practical. Otherwise, what's the point? To me, music is sound and how it sounds. You can put all the theory in afterwards. Get it sounding good and enjoy it and have fun with it. Don't get yourself bogged down with a pile of theory too soon. And as I say there, I have to be honest telling you these things because this is what I do and I want to make sure I do it right and I want to make sure people learn right, regardless of what anybody else says. That's the facts of it, really, after all these years teaching. Right, okay, so we're going to get into the tune. Right, now, Live Forever. Right, quick run through the chords. Now you'll see maybe different versions of this. You have your songbooks and stuff, right? We've got a G. So we're playing a G. I'm playing a 4-finger G. If you haven't done that, some people play their G like that. Let me just check everything's working here in the group. It looks like it is, yeah. Okay, so, yep. Now, G chord, D chord. Now, you can get a copy of this if you haven't got one. Hopefully you can see the chords on the screen. A minor 7, C. Now, don't worry, I'm going to make myself larger when we get into the tune here. You can check out all the chords and all and get the thing afterwards, but I will blow up the screen, make it bigger and clearer. You need an E minor, and then you need an F major 7 and an A minor. So what's the difference between an A minor 7 and an A minor? Well, A minor is 3 fingers. A minor 7 is removing the 3rd finger. In other words, for the beginners, sometimes I call the half C, the younger kids. So you've got a C chord, remove the 3rd finger, still strum 5. So Noel Gallagher's used pretty standard chords here, standard progression, but it's all in the melody and how he's put it all together to turn it into the tune it is and the classic it is. Okay, let me just make everything bigger now. I'm going to run through this. So Control F. Okay, now you can see me bigger, hopefully. Let me just check in the Facebook group. So 2 seconds here, it should be bigger. Control F. There you go, right. Okay, so the quality of that's coming up there doesn't look good. I hope it's better when it finishes. It's maybe just because it's streaming. Right, so let me go back into the thing for me. Right. So song starts with G. So the rhythm that we're using here, there's different rhythms. I sometimes play this a different way, but I didn't want to make it too complicated for everybody. Now, I want to show you what is going on with this sheet. You'll notice on the sheet, I don't want to share the screen again. You'll be able to see this. The first down on this document is going to have a green arrow, which is going to mean we're going to have a slightly heavier strum. Now, one of the things I didn't mention earlier is dynamics. In music, dynamics is basically, simple way to think of it is strumming lightly or strumming heavily. So I'm going to play it. You notice at the end there, the fast change from C to D. Tricky wee one that. Now, we're going to go through it again. So what I'm playing is down with a slightly heavier strum. So quick look at the document here. Do you see what I'm talking about? Because this isn't going to make sense until you get looking at this. Let me just resize myself. Right, okay, there you go. You can see there. I'll make this a bit bigger. Okay, you should be able to see that better. Right, so what's happening here is we've got a green arrow for the down, the heavier down. Down, down, up, up, down, down. Right, so we've got the G chord. Now, don't worry about that longer strum. This was a previous version of this. I forgot to take that off. All you need to worry about to get this together is what I have on here. So we've got the G, D, A minor 7, C chord now, and then into your D. That's probably going to cause a problem. C and D are causing all kinds of issues for people right now in the lessons. Okay, so what he's done here is basically in the, I call it the bridge, but I suppose you could call it the pre-chorus. When he goes into the pre-chorus, he swapped out the G chord for an E minor. So if we take a quick look, down, 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 up, up, down, down, it's all the same, but you just play a G here instead of, or an E minor here instead of a G, right? And then down here it's different. Now what we'll have here is 2 bars of F major 7. So E minor. So maybe you're the same as me when it gets to that. D, A minor 7, C, again, D, A minor 7, and then we go to the F. Stay on F, on the F chord here that we're playing. Right, so you've got the gist of how it all goes, right? And then we'll show you the ending, which is repeating these. So I'm going to go back out and resize everything. So you've got me full size. So here we're going to have a run through it. So you've got your G. So you've got down, 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 up, up, down, down, D, A minor 7, C, C. Switch out the G for a E minor, D, A minor 7, C again, one more time, E minor, D. Now the outro to the chorus, if we call it that, is A minor 7. And then the F major 7, which is your C chord, and move those 3 into the middle. Make sure you go from the 4th. When it dies down later on, it's G. Over the solo parts, it's your E minor. So all that stuff is E minor and D. Now, a couple of things, the chord changing. I've talked about this in a challenge that I did back in June. It's in the Get Playing Accelerator program, and a couple of guys have been chatting about that. Arm position. Remember this elbow thing, very important. G, D, A minor 7. Now out, in, no space. We're bringing in, this is helping your grip. Your grip on these chords is so important. You shouldn't be struggling with chord changes. If you're keeping an elbow out like that, it's going to cause all kinds of problems. You've got to make it comfortable, help with the reach. I am running lighter strings on this. I have 10s on this, but I know some acoustics you maybe playing have 11s on because you might like what I call a beefier sound, a bit more bass. But arm position makes a big difference. Difficult changes in this. For anybody starting out, G to D. Right. In the case of 4th finger G, we can keep that on. If you can keep it on, we're going to bring that on and bring it in here. And keep it on. So that's the D note, which is in this G chord and the D chord. And it can act like an anchor finger, but that probably won't be a natural thing to do. You might feel you're lifting off. A minor 7, alright, and then once we've done that bar, 5 strings, C chord. Now, one thing to notice on this D, the D chord's grabbed on and up. This is one of the things I mentioned earlier when I was going through the points to watch out for. Coming on an up strum on a new chord is awkward. So I'll give you some tips when you're working on this. That chord there, sit down. There's exactly what I'm talking about when you're learning songs. I know that causes issues, starting a new chord on an up. If you're working on this and struggling, down on the C, up on the D, you need to focus on that alone. Don't go through the whole thing that I've just went through. Focus on that change if that's giving you trouble. No, it would be great. I really wanted to treat this live as a challenge. I'd love some of you guys to record yourself, pop your video up in the group. Don't be afraid of what anybody says. If there's the group, I wouldn't stand for any kind of what would you say? Any comments made that are negative in any way. This group's supposed to be a positive group. Your learning process should be 100% positive and fun at all times. And I understand it's not easy recording yourself. Somebody says put it up there, but that's how you get help. Feel free to even record yourself and send it through to me on Messenger. Let me see how you're getting on. We can have a chat. I can give you some tips and advice on what's going on with your changing and how to, few simple tips. You could tweak a few things and it'll make a lot of difference. But it'd be great if you could put, if you're brave enough, put a recording up in the main group. And everybody in the group here is here to learn. There's a lot of things I still need to learn on guitar too, despite playing all in years. Nobody knows it all. I could actually learn a thing or two from you, depending on, it will help me with my lessons and help other guys in the group if I answer your questions on what's happening with your chord changing, which is, as I said at the start, is why I chose this song. Easy chords, but just a nice chilled out tune to play, and everybody knows it. Whether or not you can sing it's another thing, but if you can play it, great. Yeah, so quick recap then on things before well, there's just after 7 now. I hope you've enjoyed the live so far, and I hope you find it helpful. As I say, you'll be able to get a copy of the PDF. If you want that, you can copy below or comment below song sheet, and I can send you one over in Messenger. Do check your Messenger boxes. I don't know what's happening these days with Facebook, but it does seem that messages don't seem to get through as easily as they used to. So if you comment on it, I will send one over. And yeah, as I say, it'd be great to have a chat and see how you're getting on with the song, and I can give you some tips and advice if you're struggling with it. Okay, so the other thing I was saying just before sign off is I have a few spots open. If you're at the stage where, and I know I've chatted with a lot of people in the group, and I understand they decided for whatever reason it wasn't time to move forward, but if you're at the point where you've been playing a while and it's not coming together the way you'd like, and you really want some proper help to look at exactly what's wrong and fix it, and most importantly get some plan and some structure, let's have a chat. And no obligation chat at all. If it turns out then that you decide not to go forward, there's absolutely no problem at all. But I just want to feel that I am helping people. Now, what I've decided to do is open up some slots in Get Playing Guitar Accelerator, and I'm also going to open up some slots for lead guitar playing. Now, what I'm going to do is, you've got the main program has everything you need from beginner right up to intermediate, including soloing. But some people might want to just focus on soloing. Maybe you're playing a while and you think you have a pretty good foundation. So what I'm going to do is take all the lead stuff out of the big program and put it in a smaller program as a special offer. Now, I have 5 spots for that special offer. You're still going to get my help and stuff, but it is going to be focused on lead. And I am going to be maybe building that out a bit as the autumn goes on. It's not very difficult for me to record new lessons. It doesn't take very long. So at this stage, there's enough in there to keep you going for a long, long time. So if you're thinking you'd want to get into lead guitar and sort of branch off, comment lead guitar below. And best way of doing this is we have a chat on Messenger. I find out some details about what you've covered so far and if you would be a good fit for it. I need to make sure that everybody I'm going to work with actually is a good fit and maybe doesn't need the other help to fix up their foundation on guitar. A lot of people I find when they start lessons or start working, I start working with, there's holes in their playing and they don't even know. We've got to fill those in. But if you've been playing a long time, you can do loads already on the guitar, you could be ready to get into soloing and improvising. If that's something that interests you, as I say, comment lead guitar below. If you want more hands-on help to fix things that are really giving you trouble, then the other program would be more suitable for you. So what I would say is just comment program below. I'll know that you're interested in the big one. And if you comment lead guitar, then we can chat about the lead guitar one and what's going to happen and how it all works. Now, the most important thing behind all this is that you get my help. You're not going to be standing alone working on this. It's 24/7 access whenever you want. And if you need me at all, you just pop a message on Messenger and I get back. And the more communication we have, the better really, and the quicker you get your problems sorted out and get moving. And I really want to help as many people as possible, which is the whole point. If you're only new to the group, the whole point of starting this group was to really not be like the other groups out there. There are people who are posting all kinds of stuff that's going up. Some of these guitar groups, it's went off on a tangent these days, and the stuff in it's got absolutely nothing to do with guitar. This group is solely to help people move forward and learn to play their favorite music. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, lead guitar, comment lead guitar below. If you want to find out more about the full program and how I can help you with the guys already in there, there's 30 people in there already, 32 people in there already. Comment program. And also, if you want a copy of the PDF, comment song sheet as well, and then I can send one over. But do check your messenger box no matter what happens to make sure you get my messages. I hope you found that useful. This will be available in the group afterwards. You can watch it back. I will also put it in the guide section as a training you can access anytime. But as I would say before the best way to get help with or to get moving with your playing is not to be sitting on your own struggling with it, is to get some help. And the cool thing about it is when you get help, I can guarantee that you will get where you want to get as long as you get the help along the way. Because that's what I do every day. So I hope you've enjoyed this, and there'll be another live coming up soon. Thanks very much before I go for voting in the polls, because it's your feedback that helps me know. Then I could see there's people interested in this, and I thought, right, there's a decent interest for Oasis, I'll do the song lesson. There was a poll there way back in June, July time, and most people voted on the blues, so I'm going to try and do a blues live in the next lot of weeks. If not this month, it'll be early October, but maybe by the end of the month, if I get time, I'll get something sorted. And we'll cover some basic blues and you know, a few scales and different bits and pieces and stuff that'll get you sort of more interested in that. So let me just check everything is still working. These days with technology, you've got to trust it. Okay, so as I say, thanks very much for turning up. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you and chat to you later on in the group. Okay, all the best. Okay, bye.